Good morning, traders, and welcome to the Flow with the Markets Tuesday, volume 161. It is the 6th of September, and I'm recording this video at 8:45 my time, which is just 15 minutes pre-London Open. I intentionally wait a little bit more in order to gather more data, like how Frankfurt Open is going, so then I can potentially even forecast the London move, and then of course give you more insights about how do I expect the day to go, or of course the remaining of the week. We have some interesting developments, right? It's not something major, but it is something very important to note, right? So we're going to cover, as always, all the pairs. But first of all, I would like you to always check your economic calendar. So yesterday, New York session was pretty dead. Why? Labor Day in Canada and the US. But London session was actually pretty volatile, right? We had some amazing longs on EU that could have been taken, but I didn't trade yesterday at all. And yeah, we had also some important news right there. Retail sales for the euro, very nice. OPEC meeting, very important, and some others as well. Today, we have interest rate decision from the RBA, hiking the rates to 2.35%. So getting kind of close to the Fed, and which is really interesting. I'm really interested to see how the dynamics are going to play out right now, as all the central banks are starting to hike the rates, and they're kind of starting to get all the same, right? For the remaining of the day, we have services PMI, very important. And what I can see right now is that for London session, we don't have any news today. Which is usually a good thing, because the market is gonna do its thing, like it's gonna do its manipulation, it's gonna do the London move, and then it's gonna set up for the news, which are actually gonna maybe make the real move or make another manipulation. We never know, right? This is why it's always important to flow with the markets. Wednesday, we have Bank of England, right there, speech, monetary policy hearings, yep. Very important. Euro, GDP, very important, and interest rate for CAT, and also speeches from the Fed, right? So very busy day tomorrow. Thursday is also pretty busy, right? GDP for the JPY. Hopefully the yen pair is gonna do something. Aussie, trade balance, and a speech from the governor. ECB, monetary policy statement, right? Rate on deposit facility and the refinancing operation. So I'm not entirely sure what exactly that means, right? It's not interest rate, but refinancing. So have to read more about it. Press conference, a speech from Lagarde, and speech from Powell. These weren't available when I was checking the calendar on Sunday, right? So make sure to check your economic calendars every single day, right? So a lot of speeches right there. And I think Friday was actually a pretty quiet day. Yeah, we have a speech right there from the Fed, and some Canadian news, Chinese yuan, nothing we're interested about, right? So a very major week ahead of us. Actually, it's the first week of September, pretty much. NFP is over, so let's have a look what is happening, okay? So let's see. Well, all of these scenarios are right now kind of still valid, but not really, because what we did is we opened and the market went ahead and created a new high, just right there, which is great. So what that means is that right now we have a brand new demand being created right now that the market is already tapping into and massively reacted from it, throwing like a huge wick. I do believe this is the interest rate decision on the Aussie, like some Asian session of volatility and momentum kicking into the market, but we rejected and came all the way back down. So right now what we have is the market tapping into this demand, but there is no liquidity being taken right now. So what I always say is that the first tap into a demand zone could be the trap, right? So there is the first trap, and what I want you to see is actually how the market is reacting from it. It's pretty corrective, pretty slow, right? It just pulled back for a little bit. And what we have right now is actually the 50-minute time frame aligning to bearish, right? So I am looking for a bearish move on the Dixie, right? And just to break this low, right? So I actually have to set an alert, because if EU goes, I also want to know when the DXY goes, so that's good. But yeah, so we can see that it's kind of trying to continue lower right now. The 1 minute it probably gave us a setup, because it gave me a setup on EU. I'm running a little long right now with 0.25 risk, because it's a counter trend trade. My first trade for the month, my first trade for quite some time, so I gotta just get into the zone a little bit. But yes, my daily projection is eventually to take this low out, and eventually to tap somewhere deeper within this area, right? So is it gonna be 50% of this big sell, right? So something like this. 25 is also fine, right? 25 should be somewhere right there. I should maybe reverse this one. Yeah, there we go. So 25 to 50%. This is where I will potentially look for the Indices to stop. And then I'm going to be looking for the 15 minutes to of course, start aligning again bullish. And then we can, of course, go with the long. But in order to make this big move, we need manipulation. So I think this low can be used as manipulation. Then the news are going to be the catalyst to maybe potentially send the price higher. So I am bullish on the Dixie. And we spoke about a retest of this level right there. Well, that was if the market did not make a new higher high. But what the market did is just straightforward broke the high, created a new higher high with a body close above. So for me right now, this right here is the major higher low. So as long as we stay above it, right, we are bullish. Okay, so as long as we stay above this level, we are bullish, and I'm going to be looking for longs. Okay, the thing is that I will be looking again for this drop to the downside and then potentially continuation higher, right? So EURUSD also changes the scenario, right? So we had that potential target, but what the market did is, as I told you, it was one of the scenarios, so played out perfectly. We just opened and straight went to the lows, right? From my experience, I know when the market actually taps into supply and already reacts and already starts to go, it's not going to come back, right? It usually goes for the next liquidity point, which was this low. So what happens after we take such a massive low? Pullback, right? So we actually faked very nicely below it. We took it out, right? And also the 15-minute shifted right there. So there were a couple of nice longs that you could have taken right here along the way, right? So right now it's a little bit of question. So what I did is I had my new supply like this, right? I just took a big candle because I always like to have big candles. They give me a bigger zone, more area to work with. Our invalidation point for longs goes right here because this is right now our major lower high. Massive push to the downside. Right now we're pulling back. We're already at the 50% pullback, which is great. But similarly to the Dixie, has enough liquidity been gathered in order for the market to continue going lower? Well, I don't think so. So since we shifted the structure right here, a lot of longs to be taken yesterday. Where's the two? First long was actually right there. Second long right here on the wick. Third right there. Fourth right there. Fifth right there. Right. This one is a bit too late, but at the end of the day, they all nicely went into the highs, right, towards that supply. So right now we just kiss the supply, right? So we took a little bit of a liquidity right there above this high, but I still look at this one right there. I still might consider even this wick right there. So I am looking for a deeper tap into this big red box, right? So what I'm currently doing is I'm observing, okay, what is the market doing? So it kind of slowed down right there, created this base, then rallied massively to the upside. So what is this? This is demand, right? So what the market did, if I just pull the Asian session, there is it. So we actually tapped into the downside right there. We responded from this zone. Supply was right there. Supply reacted, but then we just broke all the supply, broke structure, right? So what I just did is, of course, I had a brand new demand zone. I waited for the market to tap. I waited for my 1 minute entry, and I'm currently running into this long trade, targeting this guy right there. Hopefully it's going to go because it's just kind of starting to break above this structure, which might result in a little bit of a pullback. But London is also about to open in 10 minutes. So I really hope like it just boom, fast pops to the upside so I can take full TP on this counter trend trade. And I can then just start looking for the shorts. Okay. So yeah, my entry is from right here. Have to delete the Asian range, and my stop loss is nicely below right there. I didn't want to keep it tight. So, and my TP is around 4.5 hour. Yeah, so this is the trade that I'm currently running. Hopefully it goes. But yeah, so on EU, again, overall, so right now I am bullish intraday, right? Or even I would say intra-session, because the flow right now is bullish, and I do expect another liquidity grab into this high, right? So first target is, of course, the Asian high, which is a nice high right there. Second will be this one, and then potentially we can see if we're gonna break these wicks or are we gonna respond from them, because they're also some kind of a drop-based drop, right? These kind of wicks. So this is where I will potentially be looking to take profit and seeing if the market is gonna turn bearish. Okay, so of course, in order for the market to turn bearish, I will need to see the 15-minute go and turn bearish as well. So this is what I will be looking for. Okay, so something like this. Tap inside, then I will look for the shift, and then continuation lower, because long term I am bearish on EU, right? I'm bearish on EU, and I do think we can attack these flat lows right there and even the lower low. But still, first we need some time. We have a lot of news incoming for EU, so it can get tricky. We can get into this zone, start to consolidate, wick up, and then potentially go. So just watch it, and of course flow with the markets every single day. So that's EU for me. Currently long bias, already running a long trade and expecting a potential short. Oh, look at that. So Euro Yen, very nice impulse happening right now. So what it did, a little bit funny, right? This is why for counter trend reversals, you always want to see body breaks, right? So the market actually came back towards this zone right there, took this low as liquidity, right? And then massively right now expanding, about to make a new high. So honestly, on this one, I'm not sure what you can do right now. Let me just see, just give me a second. Okay, just take some partial because I'm running 15 pips. That's usually pretty good. Let me just check. All right, sorry for the pause, guys, but EU just massively blasted through the roof and it's hitting my take profit. So I took 90% of my position, as I just explained, like targeting my this high right there, and I'm just letting a very little go, just to have some skin in the game right there, just to monitor what it happens, so I can keep also my emotions in check. But look at that, massive. I just told you, like the bullish flow, I just wanted to have that London open, just bank very fast to the upside. There it goes. So very great start of the week. I'm very happy with this one, although of course it was low risk, but it's a counter trend trade, so this is what I usually do. So back on Euro Yen, I don't think you can do much on Euro Yen right now, simply because it's already into the highs, right? So it's already right now making a new high. It's about to tap very deeper into this big buy to sell right there. So it needs to adjust, right? We need to wait out for the high, then to initiate the pullback, higher low, and then continue going higher. Or you just monitor how the market is going to respond to this whole region right there, and if you can get any shorts. But I would avoid going short with this massive momentum, because it just looks like longs, right? It just looks like longs. So avoid doing that. But even on the 15-minute, it's just massively trending right now. So there is nothing you can do, right? So if you are, for example, trading this pair, then just let it go, right? Let it go and wait for something to develop. Aussie dollar, we had the interest rate, but I'm very surprised that we did not have like a huge wick or something. What we had is a nice bullish candle followed by a very nice bearish candle, which is also great, right? But what I kind of find sketchy about this setup is that it did not break the low, right? So what I currently have on my chart is this wick as supply, right? So this is how I adapted to the market. But then I asked myself, well, is this supply actually strong? Right? Well, it's not, because it did not cause any break of structure. It didn't really show me a lot of momentum to the downside. So yeah, this is why I don't consider it as strong, right? But we came in and we had a very nice bullish bearish reaction. So this is a very nice V shape, right? This is a pattern formation that I teach in my program. And yeah, so we came in, we took this little high as potential liquidity point, right? There is nothing much more right there. It is just imbalance, empty space. They were very nicely reacted and we started shifting bearish, right? So there is a 50-minute break right there. And if you want to be even more conservative, there is a second one. So it's kind of shifting bearish, but it's also not giving me a very bearish vibe. This is a good area to look for trades because it also caused the liquidity grab, very nice initiated and broke structure. So if you're trading AUD, I am bearish on it. The only question I have is this area strong, right? Is this an area that I would look to trade from? Right, and that is a question I have currently, but we're already having a reaction, already having a 15-minute break. So I do think if we have like a nice pullback towards the highs, I do think a short trade is possible, but it looks like right now it's just running away, right? We threw a little wick up, so it looks like it wants to continue. But if we pull back towards this zone right there, then it's worth the strike. If this zone fails, then of course you have that guy and you have that overall big buy, right? So all of this area is a potential sell area, so you have to always also have a entry setup, right, which is very important. So that's my view on the Aussie. I am currently bearish, although I am a bit 50-50, but I do think it would like to break this low right there, because this is the next liquidity point. The market is already bearish, right? So if we ask ourselves, well, where is the market going next? Well, I would say this low right there. AJ will look differently, yes. So we expected a drop, a break of structure on AJ before we take short, but no, right? We also pointed out that demand was in control. We tapped inside, reacted. Yes, we were reacting from supply, right? But did this supply cause a break of structure right here or right there? Nope. It just held, and right now we're pushing higher, which also makes me think we might also attack the high, right? So what I see is a little bit of a base right there, something that you could have taken a trade off of maybe, if you drop to the 50-minute. Yeah, but it's a little bit, yeah, it's a bit sloppy. So yesterday, yeah, this is Asian session, it's not yesterday. So we had a push, pullback. This is a good long trade, push, then it comes back in, takes the lows right there, and then initiates again. A little bit tricky. So right now the 50-minute is also pretty bullish, and we have this kind of area right now. So if you pull back towards this area and you're given a nice entry setup, then I think it's nice to look for long on AJ, because I first think this high could get taken, and then the second high that can get taken is this guy right there. Okay, so currently I am long bias on AJ. So if you're trading AJ, I do think a pullback right there with a nice entry setup can be very nice, because I really like this candle right there. Yeah, this is the interest rate candle. So it took liquidity down there, it took liquidity down there, and it still respected the demand, still maintains that bullish flow, and also then went on and broke structure. So if you pull back towards right there with a nice entry setup, I think you can get a nice long. NZUSD, it's probably also kind of sloppy. Well, it's playing out, well, not really as expected, but we initiated with a pullback to the downside, and then I expected a push up. Yes, the market pushed up, but it's immediately rejecting right now. So if I just look at this pair, I'm not trading it because it's just stuck in the middle. We had a 4-hourly shift on this one right now, and as you can see, I have this demand. So I do think we can grab this low as liquidity like this and then continue going higher. So this is how kind of the weekly cycle can look like on AU, but I'm not sure. Just right now, this is really flat. This is really flat right there. I would love for all of this to get collected so we can actually tap inside here and then go long. Okay, shorts, I'm not sure, because there is no shorting area. I wouldn't short from this kind of supply. Why? Because it's weak, right? We just stopped right there, then we started pushing lower, and then it just came back. Sure, it respected it, but long term, I do think this one can break. Right now, we are tapping inside this big guy, right? So it kind of looks like it responded already, broke. So you might have taken a loss right there because it showed the shift of structure. You take a long, then it stops you out. It's a tricky pair, this one. So it's probably gonna go for the liquidity, right? So if this zone doesn't work, and I see 1 attempt, 2 attempts, right now it's coming for the third one. If you look too long from this zone, I would look for something like this, for a break of this high, retest, and then a continuation. If not, I look for this setup, right? So there is your NU potential projection. It can also go pretty short, right? This could have been the pullback. So the market just went inside, grabbed a bit more liquidity, filled the wick, and it could just continue to break towards the lower low. But yeah, I'm not sure, right? I'm not sure, and when I'm not sure, I usually don't trade, but this is how I currently view it. I do think we can pop into the highs to grab more liquidity from the upside before we continue going lower. Okay, so this is my outlook on NU. And NJ probably looks a bit different. Yeah, so we were expecting a tap into demand, which we actually did on the 4th of September. First thing we did is we tapped the demand, and then we just continued on and made the new high. So beautiful delivery actually on the NJ, although I was really trolling it with all of this consolidation, pushed, pulled back, and probably provided a setup. Well, on the 15-minute, not really. Yeah, this is, sometimes it happens that you just don't get your shift, because according to my rules, first this has to break in order for me to take a long, right? But we can see that it actually responded there. So until you took a long, maybe the long you took was from here, but that was probably late. Yeah. So let me know if any of you guys actually went long on any of those JPY pairs, because they look pretty good. But yes, right now it looks similar to AJ, right? So we're having that bullish flow. Demand is respected. We have a new demand formed right there. So if you pull back towards it, give a nice entry setup, then we can go for the longs. Although a very bad point on this one is that we just took out the high right there, and we're tapping deeper into major supply. So AJ, on the other hand, didn't do this yet, right? So AJ hasn't taken any high, right? But NJ has already taken this high right? And it's tapping deeper into this supply. So I will be a little bit more conservative with this one. And the NZD pairs are just not looking very great. But this is the setup that I'm currently looking at. And of course, if the 50-minute structure shifts, then what I'm going to do, I'm just going to flow with the market. It's easy. Mark the broken higher low, find the lower high that actually broke it, and then trade from it. Okay. Look at that. Wow. Yeah, pullback, goodbye. I told you that the UJ doesn't do pullbacks. It just ranged, and right now it's massively expanding higher. So again, guys, I just don't know what to do with this one, right? It doesn't give pullbacks. Sure, right now we have a brand new demand zone. So if you have to wait, right? You have to wait. It's just impulsing right now. So there is nothing you can do. You can, of course, buy, right? Buy every little pullback, but this is not something that I do, right? If I'm not into the initial position, I'm not going to buy like this. So pretty much what I'm looking for is for pullback and a continuation. On UJ, it looks very strong, so I wouldn't go against it. So let's see what happens. GU is tricky. So GU didn't do this, right? It first went into the lows. So this is the scenario we had. First went into the lows, but then we looked for shorts, but no. It actually perfectly flipped higher, right? So it's currently at this supply. It's a few things we can explore, right? So this is a 4-hourly break of structure. Why? Because this is the lower high that caused the lower low, right? But this can also be liquidity for a deeper tap inside this supply, so we can actually reverse lower, right? So it's a bit tricky. I am kind of overall long biased right now after I see this big break, right? But I'm also thinking, okay, is it really long? The 50-minute right now is a bit tricky, right? So I was looking at this area as potential demand zone, and as you can see, the market actually expected it. I called the short on EU and the short on GU to my team. So there is the long on GU, played out also very nicely for a quick TP above the high. And what we have to do right now is wait, right? So I think liquidity is taken. We're tapping deeper into the zone. So currently my higher low is here. So if we have a break of this one, a strong break, even a break of this low right there, then I'm going to be looking for the shorts. So something similar that I'm looking on EU for the shorts, right, which is already kind of playing out. Similar is right here, okay? So although we kind of broke the structure, I consider this to be liquidity, right? Because it was also perfectly equal, perfectly flat. We took it out, but it wasn't enough. We took it out again. So we had a 1-2 drives into the highs. So right now, if we have the reversal, I will be interested to go short, right? But only if I have the reversal. I'm also not interested in longs too much because it looks a bit expanded to the upside. There is a higher high on the 4H, and I usually don't want to trade from higher highs. And we're tapping into big supply and taking a lot of liquidity. So I would avoid longs after this liquidity grab. Long was great right here. I caught it in the team, but right now it's not great, right? So looking for this kind of setup, or just looking for the day to develop and then to see what GU is going to do. We have also some important news, so make sure to wait for those. GJ massive. Wow, look at that. Wow, guys, look at this. I'm surprised how textbook, like those are the lines that I draw on Saturday, and this one is even to the pip, man. Wow, I think I'm going to become a Nostradamus. So yeah, well, this is pretty much how we framed this long-term long bias break, respecting demand, break, chopping around, building all that liquidity. So I told you that there is that little demand, but I don't think it's gonna hold. We're gonna go down, take the liquidity, tap deeper into this one, and look at that. Look at that, tap and go. I'm kind of proud of this. The question is, did you get an entry, right? So I don't trade GJ, but just looking at it, it looks a bit hard to catch an entry because it just tapped, it reversed. So you should be looking like for trades from here. New York session, then break structure, trades from here. Break structure. I don't think this one will have been an entry. So yeah, it just goes, right? So hopefully you GJ traders are capitalizing on this big move, but very nice delivery. Very nice delivery, already kind of targeting the major highs, right? So it's breaking the high. So what we can do, we can wait. Right, so all we can do right now is just wait. So let's wait for it to form a higher high, and then of course we look for the pullback or we look for counter trend shorts, right? Let's see. Okay, so that's GJ, very nice delivery. Euro GBP, I don't care about this one. Yeah, it's nothing much that shows me. We had a nice push into the highs. Right now it's reversing, which means that the euro is weaker than the pound. Well, yeah, that looks kind of like the case because the pound is right now pumping. Gold is looking good so far. So yeah, we had this supply, right? But we just consolidated. So there is the liquidity gap. We don't have a 50% yet. So can we throw another one? I really want to see a break of... So there it is. Yeah, we actually broke above the zone. So right now, though, the hourly time frame is bullish. So I need to see it shift to bearish, right? Either the hourly or the hourly or the 50-minute. Even the 50-minute is right now bullish, okay? So I'm going to be very quick on gold and very simple. I need to see a break below this low. So then I can look for the pullback and then I can take my short. Okay, so that's my analysis on gold. If this demand holds, of course, there is a chance that we're going to pop above 50%, come in deeper inside this red zone, and then reverse from here. Okay, so I'm overall short bias on gold. Then the question is, do we go after this? Do we go short right now or do we wait for another push? We never know. What we can do though is flow with the market. So I am personally looking for a break of this low right there, a nice confirmed break before we go south. Indices, it was a bank holiday yesterday, so there are no updates at all on this one. It's just chop, right? It's just chop. So same analysis remains, right? I'm just looking for something. I'm observing how it's responding from those big daily areas and weekly areas that we found on Saturday. So nothing much to update you guys on the indices. They're pretty much the same. I'm looking for one more leg lower, especially on S&P. So let's see if it's gonna occur. Bitcoin is just chopping around right now, so nothing much to update as well. And Ethereum, oh, look at Ethereum actually popping into the highs. So Ethereum was kind of tapping from supply, but then still respecting demand. And this is like a similar example on gold, right? In order for me to go short on Ethereum, I would have loved to see a break of this one. Why? Because it's gonna introduce the bearish trend. Right now, the market tapped into demand and it's already moving higher. Okay, so what we can do is just keep following the flow, right? So if we have a new pullback, higher low, then I would look for another long. Okay, so guys, I'm gonna wrap it up here. I don't want those analysis to get too long. Dixie looks like it doesn't want to break below, but I do think it could do, but it can also hold from this zone. So I'm just observing right now. If we have a nice impulsive leg above right now, then of course I'm gonna continue following and maybe start going short on EU. EU looks great right now. Took out my 2 targets. So what I'm looking for right now is for the 50-minute to reverse and to show me bearish pressure, right? It's also possible to get another long, which is something that I won't do because I'm happy with my current long. And yeah, we're taking all those liquidity tapping into the red box. So I wouldn't really like to go long with the short bias in mind. AUD is just dropping. Potentially, guys, this is gonna attack the low right now. So if you're in, you should be in. I don't think there are any entries, unfortunately. GU needs a bit more time for me to really determine what's gonna happen. The JPY pairs are pumping higher. So right now it's an opportunity to actually go long on the JPYs if you are given the setup, right? But I think it's also gonna be tricky. So it's just Tuesday. We have a whole week ahead of us. A lot of news, guys. So make sure to stay focused. Follow your plan. I wish you good luck. If you have any questions, you know where to find me via email, preferably at support@tradingfanatic.com. And stay tuned for my next video. I'm currently focused on the revamp I'm doing for my program. And after this, I'm going to start publishing more for you as well. So take care and see you on my next video.